The glass doors of Liberty Union Bank on Main Street in Raleigh, North Carolina, parted slowly as Harold Thompson leaned into his cane, stepping into the air-conditioned lobby. The polished tiles reflected fluorescent lights, and the faint hum of a coffee machine buzzed from the corner. At 78, Harold moved deliberately, his left hip stiff from shrapnel scars earned in the jungles of Vietnam. His faded army cap, adorned with a 101st Airborne patch, sat slightly askew on his graying head. In his shirt pocket, neatly folded, was a $90 check, his son's monthly contribution to cover utilities. The walk from his apartment, just 3 blocks away, had left him winded, but Harold wasn't one to complain. He'd survived worse than a sore hip. The bank was quiet, save for the tapping of a woman's phone in line and the occasional rustle of papers. Harold joined the shortest queue, behind a man in a polo shirt muttering about a delayed wire transfer. When his turn came, Harold stepped forward, offering a warm smile to the young teller, a woman with a high ponytail and a name tag reading Kelly. "Morning," he said, his voice gravelly but kind. "Just here to cash this check." Kelly glanced at the check, then at Harold. "ID, please," she said, her tone flat. Harold nodded, fishing out a worn leather wallet. He slid a California driver's license across the counter, expired 7 years ago, the edges frayed, his younger self staring back with a fuller face. Kelly's eyes flicked to it, then hardened. "This is expired. We can't accept it." Harold's smile faltered. "I know it's old," he said. "I don't drive anymore, so I didn't renew it. But I've been cashing checks here for years. Same account. I've got my VA card if that helps." He reached for his wallet again, but Kelly shook her head, already stepping toward a man in a navy suit by another counter. The manager, Harold guessed, from the way he scanned the lobby like he owned it. Kelly whispered something, showing the ID. The manager's name tag read, Mark, barely looked up, shaking his head. She returned, her expression tighter. "I'm sorry, sir, but we can't cash it without a valid government-issued ID. It's policy." Harold's grip on his cane tightened. "Miss, I've been with this bank since Carter was in office. I've got my name on the checks, my VA card, my account number. This cane ain't for show, I earned it. Can't you make an exception?" Kelly's sigh was audible. "It's not about that. It's policy." A man behind Harold huffed, checking his watch. The line had grown, and eyes darted toward him, then away. Harold's shoulders sagged, not from anger, but exhaustion. "I just need groceries," he said softly. "There's got to be something you can do." "I asked my manager," Kelly said, pointing to Mark, who was now typing on his phone. "He said no." Harold nodded, stepping aside. The weight wasn't the refusal, it was the indifference. No one met his gaze. He felt invisible, as if the years spent repairing choppers under fire, saving lives in a war nobody thanked him for, meant nothing. But as Harold turned to leave, the door swung open, and a man stepped in who knew exactly who Harold Thompson was. General William Carter, retired, hadn't planned to visit the bank that morning. He was headed to a veterans charity meeting, his mind on budget cuts and bureaucratic delays. But a last-minute deposit brought him to Liberty Union, and the sight of Harold cane planted, head slightly bowed, stopped him cold. He recognized the slouch, the scar above Harold's ear from a close call in Da Nang. Harold didn't see him, his eyes fixed on the floor as Kelly chatted with the next customer, laughing like nothing had happened. "Harold," Carter called, striding forward. Harold blinked, then grinned, disbelief softening his face. "Colonel Carter? You're still kicking?" "Barely." Carter chuckled, clapping Harold's shoulder. "You fixed my bird in '68, got us out of a firefight near Hugh. What's going on here?" He nodded at the check in Harold's hand. Harold shrugged. "They won't cash it. ID's expired. I showed him my VA card, account info, but they say it's policy." Carter's smile vanished. "Is that so?" He turned to Kelly, who looked up, unfazed. "Can I help you, sir?" she asked. "Yes," Carter said, his voice steady but firm. "You can help this man. His name's Harold Thompson, Vietnam vet, served under me. You're denying him service over an expired ID." Kelly shifted. "It's policy, sir. We can't." "Policy," Carter cut in, "is a guideline, not a blindfold. This man risked his life for this country. You're telling me a piece of plastic matters more than that." The lobby fell silent. Mark, the manager, approached, smoothing his tie. "Is there a problem, sir?" Carter faced him. The problem is you're treating a man who kept soldiers alive like he's a nobody. He fixed helicopters under mortar fire. Ever been shot at? Ever slept in mud with one eye open? Harold has. And you're making him feel like he doesn't belong. Mark cleared his throat. I understand, but we have to follow identification rules. Don't, Carter interrupted. You had a chance to use judgment and chose not to. That's not policy, that's negligence. He glanced at Harold, who stood quietly, the check still in hand, stunned by the defense. A woman in line, mid-40s with a red scarf, spoke up. Excuse me, I heard that. He's a veteran? Carter nodded. He saved my unit. That's no exaggeration. The woman looked at Harold. Thank you, sir. Harold nodded, almost shy. You're welcome, ma'am. Kelly hesitated, glancing at Mark, who muttered, Cash it. She moved quickly, handling the check with care. Carter stepped back, letting Harold breathe. You shouldn't have to fight for this, he said. Harold chuckled. I'm used to it. Been invisible a long time. No one should get used to that, Carter replied. The room felt heavier now, eyes shifting with guilt. The man who'd huffed earlier looked down. The woman with the scarf stared at Mark, who avoided her gaze. Outside, the sun beat down on Main Street. Harold and Carter walked slowly, the city buzzing around them, cars honking, a jogger darting past. You didn't have to do that, Harold said, tucking the cash into his wallet. Could have let me walk. And you'd have gone, Carter said. Doesn't mean you should have. They reached a bench by a deli, the smell of fried onions in the air. Harold sank down, adjusting his cane. I wasn't even mad, he said. Just tired. Been turned down for worse housing, benefits. Once got denied a flu shot because I didn't look priority. Carter's jaw tightened. That's what gets me. How easy it is for them to do it. Harold nodded. What bothers me is I didn't expect better. They sat in silence, the weight of shared history settling. You ever tell your story? Carter asked. Harold snorted. Who'd listen? Folks want to move on to gas prices or their phone bill. Not small talk, Carter said. Real stories. There's a veterans roundtable next Wednesday at the community center. No stage, just us. You in? Harold rubbed his thumb over a scar on his knuckle, a memento from a snapped wrench in '69. What would I say? Tell him about Hugh. Or the time you rigged a radio from a busted fuel pump. Just be honest. Harold laughed. You remember that radio? Carter grinned. Saved us from an ambush. I'm serious, Harold. Come. Harold took a flyer Carter handed him, the design tacky with an eagle and flag. I'll think about it, he said, pocketing it. 3 days later, at a diner, a man in the next booth leaned over. You the guy from the bank video? Harold froze, fork midair. The man showed him a phone clip grainy footage of him at the counter, Carter stepping in. The title read, Vet Denied Service. Then this happened. It had 300,000 views. Didn't know anyone was recording, Harold said. The man smiled. Kid posted it on TikTok. Said it changed how he sees his dad. By evening, Harold had voicemails. Carter, a news station, a teacher wanting him to speak at a school. He stared at the flyer, then called Carter. You see that video? Carter laughed. Said he's calling about a senior treatment panel. You started something. Harold sighed. I didn't ask for this. Maybe you were meant to, Carter said. The next Wednesday, Harold stood in a small room at the community center, same cap, same jeans. 20 people sat in mismatched chairs, vets, teens, a few officials. Carter introduced him. This man didn't ask to speak, but what happened to him woke something up. Harold cleared his throat. I'm no speaker. I fix things. Always have. But you can't fix people like machines. You gotta see 'em, treat 'em like they matter, not because of what they did, but because they're here. Heads nodded. A teen in the back leaned forward, no phone in sight. Next time someone like me walks in, Harold said, don't wait for a general to speak. A week later, a letter arrived from a state senator, thanking Harold for his talk, now used in staff training. At his apartment, Carter brought coffee, and they sat on the balcony, the city humming below. Never wanted attention, Harold said. You earned it, Carter replied. You showed him we're still here. Think people change? Harold asked. Not overnight, Carter said. But you gave him something they can't unsee. They clinked cups, the moment quiet but solid. Harold kept showing up Wednesdays, then a school, then a city hall panel. He wasn't a symbol, just a man who'd been seen. And that was enough. What do you think? Should Harold have fought harder, or was his quiet dignity enough? How do you handle injustice in your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about standing up, speaking out, and what it means to face unfairness head-on.